Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world or whatever time you'll be watching this video. So guys, have you heard about the Trump administration's process to revoke US citizenship for some people? Yes, yes, yes. That is something real. All right, now buckle up. We're going to dive into one of the most eyebrow-raising policy twists of the early 2020s. Now, first off, can the US government take away your US citizenship? And what exactly is the Trump administration actually doing about it? Now, let's break down with clarity and zero legal mumbo jumbo, or well, minimal mumbo jumbo on how this will work. All right? Well, first off, what citizenship means in the US. There are two ways to be an American citizen. One, you would have to be born there. And thanks to the 14th Amendment, that is one of the ways in which you can become a US citizen, or as it's called, the birthright citizenship. And as we all know, Trump is also trying to change that rule, right? So if persons go to the US, if you're from another country and you go to the US pregnant and you have a baby, that baby is automatically a US citizen. But what Trump wants to change is that if that same person goes to the US, if they're a visitor and they don't have legal status in the US, if they have a baby there, the child will not be a US citizen. So look out for further details on the process of that, which he's taking to court. The second way to become a US citizen is through naturalization. And this means that you moved there, did your paperwork, passed the test, said the oath, and the whole shebang. So, if your parents file for you or if you get married and, go through the whole naturalization process. Now, good news for most of who is in the States is that if you were born in the US, the government absolutely cannot yank your citizenship just because politicians don't like you. And that's constitutional law. And as I said before, Trump is trying to have that change. But for now, it says no. So no, a presidential tweet doesn't magically turn you into a non-citizen. So sorry for all the drama lovers for now. But what about naturalized citizens? Here's where things get a little more real and a little bit more complicated. Now, there's a legal process called denaturalization, which means the government can theoretically take away citizenship only from people who became citizens later in life and only on specific legal grounds. So these include things like fraud in the original citizenship application, example, hiding your criminal history or lying on official forms, concealing who you really were, like hiding wartime actions that would have blocked you from naturalization, and certain serious crimes or affiliations such as terrorism or war crimes. Now, it is important to note that the government can't just declare you no longer a citizen. A federal court must agree after legal proceedings. It's not an executive, magic wand and you lose your citizenship. So, what's Trump's team actually trying to do? So, cue the internal memo. In June 2025, the Department of Justice, the DOJ, issued a directive telling its lawyers to prioritize denaturalization cases. This means more resources for cases where officials think citizenship was illegally procured, more civil court cases to strip citizenship from people accused of wrongdoing, and a broader list of potential targets than historically typical. Now, proponents say if you gaming the system to get citizenship, we should find out and fix it. Now, critics scream this could create fear among millions of law abiding naturalized citizens. It's a debate alley really in public policy right now. Now, according to internal guidance, immigration officials were asked to refer 100 to 200 denaturalization cases per month. Get that, guys? Officials were asked to refer between 100 to 200 denaturalization cases per month. And this is a massive ramp up compared to recent decades. Now, in contrast, the US used to pursue maybe a few dozen total, in years. But here's a twist. A former immigration official called that scale virtually impossible because the legal hurdles and court processes are slow, meticulous, and resource intensive. You don't just flip a citizenship like a light bulb. No, I think I've heard of one case where someone who lost their US citizenship, whereas they previously, I think they initially had gotten married and applied for citizenship. And then they were denied that and given leave, notice to leave the country. But then they did not leave the country and then found true love after and then got married and then got their citizenship. Now, how they lost their citizenship is that the officials had said that because they were denied initially on that fake marriage, they were told to leave. If they had left, they would not have been around to meet, that true love and gotten that citizenship. So they're saying that they were illegal to be in the country at the time when they quote unquote got married for real. So, yep, they lost their citizenship that way. Now, so important legal reality check. If you were born in the US, you are protected by the Constitution's 14th Amendment. The government can't take that away because someone disagrees with you or doesn't like your opinions. Full stop. Even for naturalized citizens, legal protections, including court review, still apply. The DOJ cannot just snap its fingers and strip someone of citizenship without due process. Well, these days, seem as if anything goes, A lot of things are happening without due process in the US. Now, some policy changes proposed by Trump, like ending birthright citizenship entirely, have already faced legal blocks from courts. Those efforts are still tied up in the legal system. So, what's the bottom line? Yes, denaturalization, which is revoking citizenship, exists in US law. Yes, the Trump administration is pushing to use it more than usual. But no, it's not a presidential superpower and it doesn't apply to people born in the US. Legal safeguards, courts, and constitutional limits still matter. In short, your citizenship isn't a reversible membership card. You can't lose it just because a politician says so. But if someone committed serious fraud or hid dangerous behavior on their naturalization forms, well, that can trigger legal scrutiny. So next time someone warns you that so-and-so president is going to take your citizenship away, ask which one, by what law, and in which court. Because in America, there's no such thing as a citizenship banishment decree scribbled on a napkin. Now, I know this is, what the law says, but I see a lot of our Jamaican people doing lots of stuff on social media, and some of them, because they are now US citizens, they keep making trouble for other persons, whether they are citizens or not. Now, I would caution you guys that based on how you went to the United States. So if you overstayed or if you, got married illegally or whatever to get your stay, remember the people you are making trouble for can maybe make some reports or whatever, and then now the investigation flip back onto you for them to start looking at your track record on how you became a US citizen. So you may be looking to impede someone else's path to citizenship, when if your road is dirty, it will flip back on you, and based on what Trump wants to happen, then you may be the one in trouble. So I would advise you guys who are on social media making mischief for other people and trying to get other people in trouble with the law to watch your home and make sure that none of this blows back on you or any of your family members. Because once you corner someone, then you guys know that anything goes. If you corner someone for a fight, and then when they lash out or when they are trying to fight back, nobody fights clean. Everybody fights dirty. So they say when you're pointing at someone, look at how many fingers are pointing back at you. When you're making trouble for someone, look inside at your house and around your surroundings to see if your surroundings or if you can take that blowback. Catch you on the next one, guys, and thank you for watching. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for little tidbits like these.